Welcome back to the E&S Hoover Show. I'm excited to have my friend and I don't even know how to explain what you do for me. I would say printer, but you're not just a printer. You're much more than a printer. Troy Grossi is here with me from D&GG. How are you, Troy?
I'm doing great, man. Great to be here, and thank you for this. This is awesome.
Yeah, we've been trying to get it now for a couple months and get you in here, or at least a month, maybe a little bit more. And between everything you got going on in your life, which is a lot, right? You're a new dad now, and that's
Yep.
exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And just the weather, and I can't even remember what other things happened, just double booking our schedules and whatever else. But we probably rescheduled 5 or 6 times to get this on the books.
It actually was funny how long it took to get that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I wake up this morning and it's blizzarding outside, and I was like, oh crap. And I was like, my kids didn't have school this morning, or they so now there's no such thing as a snow day anymore. I don't know if
No.
you know that.
Yeah.
They all have like Chromebooks essentially at our school. So like when anytime it's too cold outside or there's like a sprinkling of snow, they do a school from home day, and so I'm like rushing to get the kids all set up on their Chromebooks and get their schedules printed out so they know when they have to be on what. And then I was like, you guys got to handle this on your own. I can't cancel on Troy again, right? It's just not going to happen. Plus, I have a doctor's appointment after this. So I'm like, I gotta go.
I feel bad for all the kids now because they will never understand the fun that it was like to actually have a real snow day.
Yeah, like I showed my kids the movie Snow Day
Yeah.
because it's been at least 5 years since they had an actual snow day, because now
Hmm.
it's just this ever since COVID pretty much it's we're gonna learn from home now, and I don't think these schools realize what that actually does to the parents, because it's like, what if the parents have to go to work? What if Now luckily my kids are a little bit older now, so like I can set them up and they're good, and they'll feed themselves lunch and whatever else. Like my daughter's 13 going on 25 and my son's 10, so they can be self-sufficient from home. I just got to make sure that, their Wi-Fi is working and stuff like that before I leave. So, because trying to troubleshoot Wi-Fi with a child over the phone just does not work very well.
I don't think it would.
This
Yeah.
is what you're in for in 10, 15 years. Just to let you know, it's probably going to get worse. It's going to be like some other form of higher
Virtual reality.
virtual reality school or something. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. But anyways, to get back into it, so how would you classify exactly what your business is?
Well, in a nutshell, it's a full service marketing and advertising agency, but we focus on graphic design first.
Okay, so graphic design is your actual niche.
Correct.
Okay,
And
and
I
then
say that only because I, we've got phenomenal designers on staff. But the thing about it is that I believe that anything you do marketing and advertising relating actually starts with graphic design because it starts with the right graphics, it starts with the right messaging, the right photography, the right target audience. Whether you're doing web banners, you're doing brochures, you're doing direct mail, you're doing a website, you're doing trade shows, they all start with the graphic design first.
hmm, okay. We're going to get into a little bit of how technology is going to be impacting your business moving forward. But honestly, the one reason I want to have you period on my podcast, but the one reason I'm really excited about is, I use my podcast as almost like a selfish thing, right? Like I want to learn things that I can eventually implement into my life. And one of the things that really intrigues me about you and your business is you and your sister took over the family business, right? And
Yep.
I keep thinking like, I'd love for one of my kids to be interested in my business someday, right? And maybe take it over or whatever the situation is, but neither one of them seem to have any interest in it at all. So tell me your origin story. Like how did you, going through school, when did you decide like, oh yes, I'm going to join the family business? Like I'm sure you didn't want to for the longest time, right? Like you wanted to
Actually,
probably
no.
really.
Okay, so knowing that my dad started the agency in '84 and I was born in '80, so I basically grew up with the agency and my dad coming home, and I got to hear the trials and tribulations of what he was going through and the BS that he had to deal with. And I've always been a salesman first. So back in high school, middle school, I always sold everything you could, all the fundraisers. So um, it was kind of always ingrained in me that I was going to go work at the agency because that's what I was good at. Now I went to school for marketing at Penn State, so don't hold that against me if you're not a Penn State fan. Um,
I honestly don't pay attention to college sports anymore. I don't have the time for it. It's just I love college sports when I was like a teenager and early adult, and then like we have kids and business and everything else, and it's like for I'm an NFL guy for sure, hands down.
I
But
didn't know that.
in the NFL, yeah, right. And the NFL now completely dominates the fall, right? They do Thursday night football, they do sometimes Saturday games, they do Sunday all day, Sunday night, Monday night. So it's like for me to throw Saturday in and be watching college football all day Saturday, like my kids would probably hate life. I want to spend some time on the weekends with my kids and be a dad. And it's bad enough that Sundays are thrown out for 4 months out of the year.
Actually I read an article, and probably I'm going to get this incorrect, but the Steelers are the only team in the NFL to actually have played 6 out of the 7 days of the week.
Really?
Yeah, because when COVID hit, they had to play on various days that were outside of what we normally
Yeah,
know
they
as
had a
Monday.
Tuesday game, which is super rare, and then on Christmas they had a Wednesday game this year. That
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah. COVID definitely had that one year where it's like they were just trying to squeeze games anywhere they could.
it was bad.
My worst experience with sports and COVID was I'm a pretty good football gambler. It's like a second career for me. It's like my side hustle during the football season. I do pretty well in it. Well, COVID was the only year where I actually lost money. I didn't lose much. I lost like maybe a grand or two through the whole season. But I had a bet that I was like, it was a lock, right? I was like, and I bet it early because the line was where I wanted it to be. So I bet it early, and it was the I'll never forget it. It was the Broncos versus the Saints, right? And the Saints were playing their backup quarterback, which Taysom Hill, he's not bad, but he's
No,
anyways. So the Broncos to me were clear cut, easy. They were going to cover. It was like 1.5 point spread. I was like, yes, I'm going to get it before it moves to like 3.5, right? Because that's where I thought it was going to go. So I bet it. Sure enough, the line moved to like 4.5,
mm,
during the week. And then come the weekend, I think it was either Saturday or early Sunday morning, the Broncos announced that their entire quarterback room had COVID.
I remember that.
And
Yes.
instead of canceling or delaying the game, the NFL's like, you'll be all right. So they had to play a wide receiver at quarterback, and they
Yep.
got smashed. And I tried to cancel my bet out, and they're like, yeah, no, sorry. I'm like, wow. I mean, that's not like a one player being out. That's literally an entire quarterback room being out of the game now. You're gonna hold me to that bet, but yeah. Anyways,
That's funny.
yeah. So you went to Penn State for marketing. What,
Yeah.
Penn State Barron, or did you go to actual Penn State?
Penn State Erie, Barron.
Okay.
Actually, I was their first full 4 year marketing degree at that campus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I chose it only because, well, for that one purpose, and then also because it was a smaller campus. I didn't want to go to a larger school. I just knew that I wanted the more one-on-one, the more smaller environment.
And you knew as soon as you're graduating, I'm gonna go work for dad. That,
So when commencement actually happened, it was a week after I'd already had 1 week worth of work in by the time our commencement was. I had literally finished up my last final on a Wednesday. That following Monday was when I had my first day at the office, and I've been working ever since. That was May 5th, 2002.
wow. So you really never got to experience like the corporate world at all.
No, I wouldn't want it.
Yeah, yeah. I
I,
mean, but it's one of those things. I always say for people that like want to become a landlord, right? I was like, you should probably manage your own properties for a period of time, right? Because you'll appreciate your property manager more
yep.
when you deal with the stuff that your property manager is going to deal with, right? So you kind of have firsthand experience in what that property manager is going to be dealing with. For you to never join the corporate world, but you're kind of selling to the corporate world, right? So like you're very fortunate in that aspect. You didn't have to deal with any of the crazy politics involved in the corporate world. I mean,
I deal with a lot of bigger corporate or bigger companies, and I see a lot of the stuff that I know I wouldn't want to have to work in. And so I've often said I will never work in a corporate world.
yeah. Oh, I was told, honestly, I'm not the sue type. I've never sued anybody for anything, and I probably won't. I'm one of the type that like if they didn't shovel and salt their stairs and I fell down like 10 stairs and broke a hip, I'd probably would just be like, well, that was my fault for not holding on to the railing harder.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like when I was at T-Mobile USA, that was where I really the main portion of my adult career was before getting into real estate. When I was there, I mean, I was told that I was too heavy and I needed to lose weight. I was told that like before I had adult braces and before I got braces, I was told that I needed to get braces if I wanted to move up, like because I wanted to move up the corporate ladder, and they're like, this is all the stuff you need to do. And it's like looking back at it, I was like, damn, I could have sued the crap out of T-Mobile if I wanted to, because that's unreal that like, I didn't even realize that that was wrong at the time that they were telling me these things. Like they were telling me that I was too heavy and that I wasn't the look that they wanted for their management and stuff, and for their upper management. I was good enough to be, I was like a training manager. I was the highest I got, and I was trying to get to like the district regional manager level. And they were telling me basically, yeah, you're not what we're looking for, not because you're not good at your job, but because you don't look the part, essentially. And yeah.
That's insane.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out the latest episode of the E&S Hoover Show. If you want to support me, please swing by Amazon, check out my new book, Short Term Memory Loss. It's a book about sales, but more importantly, it's a book about how to improve your life with sales. Even if you're not a salesperson, this book will help you improve your life. It'll help you get a promotion at your job. It'll help you negotiate a better deal on a car. You can use sales to improve just about every aspect of your life. So if you wouldn't mind, swing by Amazon, pick up a copy today. Or if you're an Amazon Kindle subscriber, it's free. Just check out the book. Let me know how you like it. Thanks.
You cannot get away with that in today's day and age.
You can, you just have to do it differently. You have to word it in specific ways, right? And it's there's very, very unique ways to do it. But if you get caught, yeah, you could lose a lot of money as a corporation doing stuff like that.
Oh
But
yeah.
what about your sister then? Did she know from day one that she was going to get into the family business?
She did. So she took kind of a different path. So when she graduated, she also went to Penn State. So I went to school for marketing. She went to school for English. And so when she graduated, she actually went to the agency and was a account executive, a salesperson. Did very well with it. It just she recognized it wasn't for her. She's great at managing clients. She's just not good at getting the doors closed on her face and saying no. But she's great at managing clients. So she did that for a number of years, and then actually our dad owned another business, a bookbinding factory, which so
A
when
book mining factory.
binding,
Binding. Okay,
binding.
binding. I thought you
So
said mining. I was like, okay, is this like before crypto mining, we were book mining? Like, what's the deal here?
no, so all those larger brochures and mailers and everything like that, when we design it, we have to send it off to an actual printer. The printer has these flat sheets of paper that then need to be folded, stitched, trimmed to the finished product. And so we had a factory that's all we did was folding, stitching, trimming. And that's what she actually managed for a number of years.
Hmm.
And actually kind of honed in her skills on how to run the business aspect of things. So she did that for a few years and then came back over to the agency and basically started taking care of all the paperwork and business aspects of things at the office until it was time that we were able to transition the company from our dad over to me and Don.
So clearly I'm doing something wrong because neither one of my kids want anything to do with my business. So like, how did your dad rope you into like really wanting to be involved with his business?
You know, I don't. He never really did rope us in. It wasn't like, hey, you guys are going to come work at the agency, or you're going to come do this, you're going to come do that. It was he always provided us with options and opportunities. That's the way he always looked at it. It was not options; it was more opportunities, and so it just has always worked. And he just had the ability to give us that option.
Hmm, okay. And then so what year did you and your sister take over the company and your dad step away?
Um, God, actually, I think that was about 10 years ago now.
Okay. So like mid 2010s then.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was your goal? Was you like, I'm going to take this to the next level? Did you have any differences of how you wanted to run it versus how your dad wanted to run it?
It, yes and yes. So when I came on board in '02, I really the problem with agencies is that account executives will bring on larger clients, and then 80% of your business comes from 1%, one particular client. That is very typical for advertising agency industry. Um, but my dad actually allowed me to go after smaller clients. So that way, when we lose one, if we lose one, it doesn't hurt as if you lost an 80% of your business. And that's what I started doing in '02. And I've been doing that ever since. So even with the ebbs and flows of the industry and people coming and going, we've still been able to weather that and take it to the next level. So I always say I prefer working with small to medium sized companies. It's just I have more of an opportunity, more of to make a difference and to actually be heard. And I'm a common sense guy, always have been, always will be. And advertising is predominantly common sense. And so if I can talk to the decision makers and say, hey, look, you want to do this, you want to do that, we can, uh, here's the options and here's what I think may or may not happen with it. And it's educated guesses at that point.
Hmm.
So, I look back at the last 10 years that Dawn and I have owned the business, and with every business, there's ups and downs. There's going to be. And luckily, we've been able to weather just about everything. So, knock on wood, we're good. And I often joke that because of Dawn's mindset and how she runs the business aspect of things, me with my sales and marketing aspect of things, we actually make the perfect person in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, sounds like her skill set's different than yours, and together it's probably a pretty good thing. Do you guys get along in the workplace?
it, about 95% of the time, yeah.
Okay. Because I'm telling you right now, if I owned a company with my brother, it would blow up in flames inside of 30 days. You know what I mean? Like we don't get along. Number one, we yeah, it would just be bad. It would be really bad. So it's good that you guys get along, at least to the fact that you can run the business together. Does running a business with your sister, does it impact your relationship outside of work?
It, we have a rule, and that is that if anything work related actually affects our being brother and sister first, we will close the doors. Has it been tested? Sure. You're going to come across things where we just don't agree. But we actually try not to talk about work outside of the office. Uh, does it happen occasionally? Sure, especially when important things are happening. It does happen. But we try not to. We try to keep that separation like actually even and this is something that I incorporated back when I even started. So being that we were a family-owned business, my dad was the owner of the company. I was just an account executive when I first came on. But the very first day I told my dad, I said, look, Dad, I'm not going to call you Dad at the office. I'm going to call you Don. And he actually liked that only because it created separation. Now he's a person, he's the boss, he's the owner, as opposed to just my dad. Kind of the same thing with Dawn and I. And I, she's pretty darn phenomenal. Excuse me.
You can cuss. I don't care.
I'm Italian. Come on. No, she's phenomenal at what she does. She can read people. She knows how to run the business aspect of things. And if anything, I probably am at fault a lot of times when it comes to not necessarily listening to her. And
What, men don't listen? What? No, that's not real.
yeah, of course, we all think we all know
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
We listen all the time. It's just uh we only acknowledge what we want to hear, right? Like we have selective hearing is what it's called, I think, right?
And I fully admit I'm weird. What man isn't? But like if Dawn and I have a disagreement, I'll get mad and then I'll leave and then I will think about it and then maybe a couple hours or a day later I'll be like, Dawn, I'm sorry, you were right, and let's do whatever it is. Let's do what you were suggesting, because she does have that type of mindset. She can make the separation. Sometimes I'm too close to the clients or too close to vendors where I'm trying to side with them and I'm not necessarily looking at it from a business aspect of things.
Hmm.
And I may not necessarily like it all the time, but I do come around. And thank God she understands me enough to know when I'm being an idiot.
I thought you were going to say, thank God she's not going to listen to this podcast because I've heard that a few times before.
You know what? She probably will. She probably will. So
Yeah.
that
We're
but
going to make her head big now. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know more than my brother. He's admitting it on a podcast.
yeah, I don't give her enough credit. I really don't.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It sounds like you have a good respect for her and she probably respects you and you guys work really well together. That's great. I mean, with me and my sibling having issues and being not being very close, like that's one of the things that I really try and work on with my kids is like that's your sister, that's your brother, you love them, like spend time with them, like like you try and get them to like really bond, so that hopefully when they're adults they're still close. That's really what I would, if two things happen in the world. Number one, they safely get raised, right? And don't commit any crimes. And then they have a brother sister bond come adult life. I think I did pretty good at that point. Even if like they don't, maybe aren't as successful career wise or whatever, that that all can happen, But if those two things happen, I'll be happy. You don't be a murderer and love your brother and sister. That's cool. That works for me, right?
Well, and from what I've seen, yeah, your children are doing phenomenal. So
They're awesome. They don't get me wrong. They both have their moments, where you just want to strangle them. But
all kids do.
yeah, all kids do, and they're a little bit spoiled, but they don't act it. So I'm pretty happy about that. And honestly, and as your daughter, right?
Yep.
Okay, as your daughter, what's her name?
Addison Gale,
Addison Gale. I like it.
short, Addie for short, Gale for my mother.
Okay. Well, as Addie gets older, one thing, if you want to do like a financial, I wish I would have done it earlier, to be honest with you. But I just recently, like within the last year, I got them those green light cards. Have you seen those?
No.
It's like their own personal debit card, and
Okay.
and it's an app, so you just fund it. And I put their allowance on there, and then I also have a checklist of the chores they have to do in order to earn their allowance.
Oh,
And
cool.
then the other thing is, so like their allowance is $25 a month, which sounds like a lot for a kid, but like in this economy, 25 bucks is not much, right? Like
No,
I was thinking about it, it's like, man,
it's
maybe
enough to go to a movie.
am I giving them enough money or am I giving them too much money? Because I think my allowance was like $5 back in the day, or not even maybe.
I didn't even get an allowance when I was a
Right. I
kid.
don't even, I remember getting an allowance at times. I just don't remember how much it was. There's no way it was $25 a month though. But the cool thing is, so you can like have it when it comes in, a certain percentage goes into their savings account and they need permission to touch that. And then a certain percentage goes into their investing account and they need to pick what stocks they want to buy. And so they each have their own little stock accounts they're
Oh, that's
picking. So
cool.
I get like each month when their deposit goes in, I get like a permission. So it says Roman wants to buy GameStop stock. And okay, cool. Approve it, and he buys it, and then it's in his investment account. And my daughter actually moves more money into her savings account and more money into her investing account because she wasn't spending her money. So I'm like, all right, this is working. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's a really cool app. I don't know why I didn't jump on that earlier, but I highly recommend it to any parents out there. And as you get, I would say like once they're old enough to know what money is, I would probably think about it. And then it's cool because like now a lot of places you go is all non-cash, right?
Oh yeah.
Which me being a big cash guy really really sucks. But the kids like if they're gonna go on a field trip or whatever, they go to Carnegie Museum and it's all cash or all card. They need to be able to buy something, so
Yeah.
now they can take their green light card with them, and I can throw an extra $10 on there so they can buy something at the. So it's pretty cool.
Green light. Okay.
Green light. Yeah,
Right
you,
now, right now, my daughter is
yeah,
11 days old.
yeah. We're
Uh,
not too worried about that right this moment, but in 5 years maybe that might be a good route for you to go. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this episode. I have just recently revamped my website. Check it out, IanSHoover.com, just my name. You can go there, check out what I've been working on, and also collaborate with me. There's a form to fill out on there if you want to be a guest on the show, or if you want to schedule some one on one time with me. Swing over to my website, fill out the form, and let's collaborate. Thanks for tuning in.
it's still even weird for me to say I have a daughter.
Well, yeah. Well, there's There's probably other aspects to that. We'll get into that off air. But uh, have you ever watched How I Met Your Mother?
No, I have not.
Okay, I just finished watching it. Great show, but you remind me of one specific aspect of How I Met Your Mother.
Okay.
And Barney is my favorite character in the show.
Isn't that
That's
Doogie Howser?
Yeah, that's Doogie Howser.
Yeah.
And he, the funny thing is, in real life, he's a gay man, right? In real life, and then in the show, he plays this like wild bachelor that's always picking up chicks, and like that's
Oh,
his
really?
thing, right? And he does it really well. It's really awesome. Think of the character he was in White Castle, right?
Yes.
He was kind of that character without the drugs, right? And so
Okay.
that's kind of the thinking of it. But anyways, Barney, his term is suit up, and he always wears a suit. And I don't think I've ever seen you in anything other than a shirt and tie, right? That is impressive because I mean, don't get me wrong, when I dress up and I look in the mirror, I'm like, damn, I really get this, I look good when I clean up, right? But like the amount of effort it takes to do that, like this is me 99% of the time. Hoodie, a hat. And most people think I'm bald because I wear a hat so much, and I'm not. I hate doing my hair. And you always have the hair done. You always have the suit. When did that get instilled into you? And like what caused you to suit up for your entire life?
That was definitely my dad.
Really?
Oh yeah, when I first started, he said you got to go buy suits. You got to wear a suit every day, so that way you look professional. So that way people will buy from you. And uh, now I've kind of adjusted it over the years. I don't wear a jacket anymore unless if I have to. But I wore a jacket for probably 15 years.
Yeah, when we first started, you were always wearing a jacket too. I think you maybe recently in the last 5 or so years, maybe started wearing the jacket all the time.
Well, actually, I guess it's been maybe about three or so years. What happened was with my car accident. When I had a car accident, hurt my spine, and so actually jackets in general hurt me.
Hmm.
So I just don't like to wear them. So I don't wear them for work.
Wow.
I don't
Yeah.
even like even when I'm doing the snow. Yesterday morning, I was wearing a jacket outside, but I took it off as soon as I could because I just don't like wearing jackets.
Because of just the tightness of it.
Pulls on me no matter what kind of cut.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So,
I'm
but
impressed by that. So you said pretty much once you graduated college and joined your dad's company is when you started suiting up every day.
and I call it my uniform. Like I have a number of white shirts, I have a number of black pants, and I have just different ties that I wear. It takes me from getting a shower to getting dressed about 30 minutes in the morning. And that's it,
Including the hair?
including the hair.
Because the hair looks like it'd be probably like the hardest part. Like
It
it's
actually takes like
just
2 seconds.
really? What do you just slick it back and throw some product in it?
Well, yeah, I do. But do you remember the movie Wall Street?
I do remember the movie. Yeah, yes.
So you remember how Gordon Gekko used to slick his hair back?
Yes.
So me being eternally stuck in 80s movies, as you know, I thought that's the way you're supposed to look as a professional. So even when I was a kid, I did that, and I've been doing it ever since.
Hmm. Okay.
So that
I
movie left a lasting mark on
it's a
me.
great movie. It really is. There were some really epic business movies in like the late 80s to like mid 90s,
Oh yeah.
Like Glengarry Glen Ross was great. I mean, just all kinds of, and even into the late 90s, like you get into Boiler Room and some of those
Yep.
fantastic movies, and super underrated too. Like they're never talked about in like the elite movies category, but
No.
okay, couple more things, and then we're gonna get into personal life because
Uh-oh.
there's an aspect to your personal life that I absolutely love, and I want to dig into that some more. Um, Moving forward in your business, like what do you see? Like, are you looking to build this up and then hire somebody to run it, and the business keeps going on past you? Are you looking to eventually sell it? Are you looking to, work it the rest of your life and never retire? What's your game plan with D&GG?
It- Um, I'm not sure if I can answer that 100% just yet. And that's a conversation that actually Dawn and I need to have. I know I'm 44 years old and I love what I do. Yeah, there's aspects of it that are grinding, but I want to grow it. The way our industry works is there's only so much one particular account executive can manage. So the only way to grow an agency is to hire other account executives and have them build up their book. And so I've always kept my ear open for potential salespeople that would make sense for us. And I've hired a few that just never really worked out or didn't. Another part of our industry is that when you build up a book of business, a lot of times they want to go to and open up their own agency. That's happened to me in my career twice. And
Mm.
it's one of those scenarios where um, it happens, but they don't realize the support system that's behind it. And so a lot of times, and one in particular actually failed because they didn't realize that they had the right team in place to get the projects done because they thought they could do it all. So
Did you bring him back
no,
out of like pride or just?
actually it was his pride.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
he
you were offering to bring him back and then he didn't want to?
never had the conversation. I know him. I know him too well to know that he would never come back because he's a very strong individual. Um,
Gotcha.
and it, I do not think that I have reached my potential yet on how much I can take on. And recently, well, within the past 2 years, I've realized that even hiring a CSR to handle some of the details of working through projects helps me to increase my business even 25%. While I go out and do what I can do well, have somebody else handle the details. And so there's a lot of aspects to our business that we can we can do to help grow us. And I think we'll get there, but I also don't want to get too big because the one thing that's very important to me is that our clients know that they know the person that's managing their account is somebody that really cares. And when you get to that larger $5-10 million agency that Pittsburgh has a couple of them, then you lose that. Oh, then this is a team that's handling my account, not the one person that I know that truly knows my product. Like I have clients that they will literally text me with, "Hey, I need an ad for this." One line text messages, and I can have my team completely design a full page ad for them without having any other direction. That's because I know their product so well. I know their company so well. So that just takes time, and I don't ever want to lose that aspect of it. And when you get bigger, you do lose that aspect.
Or you have to significantly plan to like build it out to where you don't lose that aspect, like only a certain amount of accounts per representative or something, so
Exactly.
that they're, and then if they lose one of those representatives, then you got to make sure that the new representative puts in the work to really learn that business again, type of thing. But yeah, scaling's hard. It really is. Like when we opened our East office,
Hmm.
uh, the original game plan was like we were acquiring a small little firm. They only had like 5 agents, 6 agents, and then we were going to build it up. And the old owners were supposed to stay on and help us build it up, right? It was over in Murraysville, and it's pretty much as soon as they got their money, they're whoop, they just dipped, right?
Oh
And
my.
like we could assign them to a non-compete, but like I'm the type that like I want you to be here because you want to be here, right? And we
Hmm.
gave them a great opportunity. Like we gave them an opportunity where if they helped us build it up, they were going to make way more money than what they would have made owning that little office, right? Because we're talking about we were going to build it up into another, 50 agent type office and kind of be us over in the East. And as soon as they dipped, I realized that like, well, there's only one of me. And so unless I can find another me, I'm not going to be able to, like I was spending half my time over on that side of town and going through 2 tunnels, and it was just so ridiculous. And really real estate now is kind of changing. It's no longer like it used to be every big company had like a neighborhood office. So you'd have like a Mount Lebanon office and a Peters office, and
Sure.
you'd have all these neighborhood offices. Well, now it's like the agents don't come into the office anymore. It's like, let's just have one big office and everybody can work out of here. Now, I do think that that's still, is semi-regional because, like, so if you have an agent that lives in Westmoreland County, they're not going to want to drive an hour and a half to drop off their commission check. So you got to have somebody that, like, either A, really wants to be here and is willing to mail that check and wait a couple extra days, or drive an hour and a half and get paid pretty quick, or just you're not going to get that business, right? So scaling's tough. We're looking at probably expanding to West Virginia and Ohio,
Oh,
and
really?
then and maybe Erie in the next like 2 to 3 years. The weird thing, I wasn't looking at West Virginia originally. I was looking at Steubenville, Ohio, because that particular market has a lot of like rental type inventory. It'd be real easy for us to expand out there. But Ohio was so difficult when it came to the licensing requirements. So they wanted me as a broker. I'm already a broker in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
They wanted me to get a salesperson's license in Ohio, sell 30 houses, take my broker's classes all over again, and then sit for the broker's test because they are not reciprocal with Pennsylvania, right? They don't work with Pennsylvania
Okay.
essentially, but they work with West Virginia, and Pennsylvania works with West Virginia. So I could get my license in West Virginia and then get my license in Ohio, no problem, right? So I got to open up West Virginia first, and then through this whole process of just trying to figure that out, I actually found somebody who might kind of head up our West Virginia market. So that kind of worked out, I guess, in the long run. But just so weird, all the stupid bureaucracy you deal with on licensing, and like it almost, it's like 75% of countries out there you don't even need a license to sell real estate.
Really?
But then in the United States, like we're so territorial that like, oh, if you're 30 minutes from me, because we're 30 minutes from Steubenville High, right? Like,
Hmm.
and I can't get a license in Steubenville High without jumping through a bunch of hoops, you know. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. But
On a fictitious line that the government made.
absolutely. But I'll tell you what, if I sell my company, I don't at some point down the road or whatever, I don't really have a vision for what life looks like after real estate. So I might just have to come and work at D&GG and be one of them salespeople you talk about. You know, we'll blow it up.
Hey, I'd love that. Yeah. It, it's it, growth can be scary. It's hiring people can be scary. Finding the right people is difficult, especially in today's day and age. I don't know about you, but I always find the problem of not necessarily with us, but a lot of our clients um, that they tell me is finding the right people that actually just want to work.
Yeah.
Like I've always said, give me somebody that's hungry and wants to learn. I can teach them everything else. I just want them to be able to put the time and the effort into wanting to learn, and I can teach them.
Well, it's so rare to find somebody in this. What's this new Gen Z? I think is because we're millennials, right? Are you?
Technically, yeah,
Okay, I'm right on the edge of being a millennial. I
I
think
think I am too.
so. You're on the other side because I'm 37. I don't know how. I think it's like a 10-year stretch or something like that, right? But this new generation that's in their 20s now. I mean, it's either one way or the other. They're either so hardcore, crazy motivated,
Hmm.
and those people are in such demand that like you're gonna really have a hard time getting them, right? Or they're just so absolutely lazy, and it's like they're gonna live at home until they're 50 and playing Dungeons and Dragons in their parents' basement or something. It's like there's no rhyme or reason. There's no just put my head down and normal worker. It's like they're either crazy motivated or they're not motivated at all. Maybe it was like that for our generation too. I mean, I got some buddies that are a little lazy and just kind of let the world just do what they do, you know. And then we have buddies that take life by the horns, you know. But uh,
I literally was joking with my wife last night. I said our daughter is not going to be one of those kids that live at home until they're 26. She's gonna literally when she turns 18, she's gonna go out, and that's I want her to actually be independent and strong.
my mom handled it the right way. She really did. I give my mom a lot of credit for a lot of things. She was a great mom. I dedicated my book to her because I wouldn't be the man I am today without her. And we were living in Phoenix, Arizona at the time when I was turning 18. And, you know, I had a girlfriend and I just lined up a pretty good job working at T-Mobile, which, right, you know, back then, T-Mobile paid ridiculous amount of money to their salespeople, which I was in the top, 2% of sales in the company, but I was making well over six figures, like right at 18, you know.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Well, but that's a bad thing though. Like when you like get just roll into your adult life making six figures because you just think like, oh, I'm gonna be making millions of dollars a year, and it's like life doesn't work like that, right? You know. So I
Nope.
got lucky, and then T-Mobile over time slowly stopped paying less and less and less for. Anyways, that's a long story, but uh, so I had some stuff going on, and I was still playing football a little bit too, and trying to figure out life. And my mom, it was like early, I turned 18 July 27th. It was like early July. My mom was like, "Hey, I reserved a U-Haul. I'm gonna load up my stuff. The lease is up at the end of the month. I'm moving back to Erie. You can have the apartment for for the rest of the month or whatever, and then good luck to you." And I was like, "Whoa, wait, what?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I mean, I'm gonna move back to Erie." And I was like, "Some like, am I allowed to come with you? Is that even an option?" Like she did, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you're allowed to come with me. I just didn't think you'd want to, right? You got a girlfriend, friends, got a good work thing going. You're still thinking about football." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." And she kind of just that's it. She closed, got her stuff in a U-Haul 2 weeks later, left, and then I had the apartment till the end of the month. I'm pretty sure she didn't get her security deposit back. Sorry, mom. We had some crazy stuff going on in those last 2 weeks. A buddy of mine was down from Erie, oddly enough, visiting, and because his mom like helped move my mom back, I think is how it worked out. But then he stayed for a little bit longer, and we did like Ouija boards. We had all kinds of crazy stuff going on those last 2 weeks. It was like my first little experience of being out on my own.
Yeah, you're supposed to do that in college.
Well, I didn't get much college experience, right? So, I went to college for a very short period of time until I figured out that my football career was not going anywhere, and then I was done. So, um, but yeah, so that's where I was at with that. So you don't think you don't have any retirement plans, basically, is what you told me. You're like, I got to talk to Don. We haven't talked about it. Don't have any plans. What do you want though, personally?
I mean, retirement plans is different than business plans, in my opinion, because I have retirement plans and where I want to be. Um, you and I have talked about it previously about, having a real estate portfolio that makes me the passive income that I want. And I'll get there. Um, Also, stocks and other investments, things of that nature that will get me to what I call retirement. But the plan for the business, I know I'll be doing this for another 20 years. It's just, it's part of a promise that I made to my family. It's a part of just who I am. It's a part of what I do. I can't see moving away from that anytime soon.
Hmm, okay. I'm way lower on the timeline than you. I'm gonna give real estate to a maximum of 50 years old, right? Like once I hit 50, I'm done. Whether that's my daughter taking over, because she'll be 26 when I'm 50. So that's potential, right? Whether it's my daughter taking over or one of our employees taking over or I hire a successor or we sell the company, whatever the deal is. Uh, that's it. 50, I'm done. I'll be an advisor still, like, of the brokerage or whatever, but I'm moving on. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like a whole new, like, what do I want to be when I grow up? You know what I actually would really like to do for a short period of time after I step down is Harvard Business has uh, a it's like a $30,000 class that you could take where typically they'll have some big person come in, like head of Microsoft or whatever will come in and teach you for 60 days. It's like a crash course on business. There's no degree or anything with it. It's a business course. I'll have to send it to you. I found it and I was like, wow, I would definitely do that. I don't even know where
Almost like an
Harvard's
extensive
located
seminar.
at. Right. Yeah, like a couple month long. It's no more than like 60 or 90 days. And I'm like, that'd be cool just to learn from somebody that's done bigger things than what I've done. Because that's kind of some of the tough part about Pittsburgh is like, there are some big companies in Pittsburgh, but they don't really social like the heads of those companies don't really socialize with us smaller companies, right? So,
No, they don't. And that's ironically enough, it's kind of one of the challenges I'm facing is that I want to get into some of these larger clients, interspersed through, because I know I can bring value to these larger companies, but you have to start from top down because the middle management never wants to talk to the small companies.
right.
And trying to get into the CEOs, you really have to network and work the right angles to be able to get in to have FaceTime with these individuals.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. I think if I ever get to the point, or, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be the same way. If you ever get to the point where your company's just huge, like you're still gonna like you probably will mentor somebody like from smaller companies and like try and help out. It's like why are you locking yourself away on the 55th floor of the the Grant building or whatever, right? Like, Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of the Ian S. Hoover Show. If you're enjoying this content, please follow me on social media at Ian S. Hoover on X, TikTok, YouTube. Let's connect and collaborate. Thanks for tuning in.
Prime example, earlier this week, I sat down with a new colleague who just started up a landscaping company back in April. It's him, he's got a number of people that work that is like a 1099, but he's still starting up. And not only am I going to help him with some materials, but on top of it, we had a really good in-depth, what I would call business conversation. What can he do to help, and how can I incorporate some of the people that I know to help him put the right processes in place? I'm not going to say I know it all about business because nobody does. But I know I've had some experiences. And if I can introduce and explain that to some of these other people who are starting businesses, I actually enjoy it. I like helping. I always have.
Mm. It's to me, it's giving back, right? And that's the rewarding part about what I do is I'm helping all these young guys get their real estate career going.
Mhm.
Not all young, but most of them are pretty young these days. Like our top sales team is all under 30.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the leader of the team, well, he might have just turned 30. He's like 29, 30, right around there. And then everybody on his team's like in their early 20s and they're crushing it. They're making so much money. It's insane. But okay, so there's a big thing out there that's going to be absolutely just completely changing probably every industry out there. And yours, I feel like, is going to be one of those industries that's absolutely going to be significantly impacted, as is mine. And that's AI, right?
Yeah.
And AI is so awesome, but it's also probably going to ruin us inside of 20 years, right? We're all going to be slaves to the AI computers at some point. Did you hear about the Chat GPT thing
Yeah, I did.
where it cloned itself because it knew it was being shut down?
Yeah.
That's wild. Like,
Okay. I'm eternally stuck in movies. And this whole AI, as much as we incorporate it in our business, but um, yeah, it reminds me of Terminator 2 in a heartbeat.
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
even remember. I remember the original Terminator. I didn't watch the other ones after that.
Well, even just Terminator or Terminator 2. I just prefer Terminator 2.
I was a Stallone fan. So my brother was the Arnold fan. I was a Stallone fan. I've seen every Stallone movie, even like the ones that nobody's ever heard of. But
Why do I have a feeling that you really liked Cobra?
Cobra was all right.
It was just all right for you?
Okay, I got two Stallone movies that most people probably either forgot about or never heard about that are my favorite Stallone movies outside of like the big ones like Rocky, obviously, is what wrote me into Stallone. One is Demolition Man.
Love it with Wesley Snipes.
Yep, fantastic movie. That it was well done all the way around. The other thing is now that we're getting to pretty close to the time frame, I think it was 2030 or
Yep.
something, right, in that movie. They got a lot right.
Oh, they did.
They got the electric cars right. They got
I
the,
just hope they don't bring the foam installation for the cars.
I hope they don't bring the three seashells. I don't know what the hell is going on with them three seashells, but I hope they don't bring those. Like, I'll be Stallone cussing at the machine to get some toilet paper. Like that was a great movie though. The other one is it's called I See You.
I don't know that one.
That was during his like early 2000s, like the Driven, Get Carter, and then he snuck in this ICU. It actually had a different name too. So there's two different names to the movie. The one that I own is called ICU. There was a different name to it too because they didn't know which name worked better. And then the movie never got fully launched. It never went into theaters.
Hmm.
You can find it at K. I'll have to send it to you. It's really good though. It's like a murder mystery type thing. So he's an FBI agent, and then the guy he's chasing murders his wife,
Hmm.
and then he goes into this depression, and the like his head chief or whatever checks him into a police rehab, right, to like get himself cleaned up or whatever, and then the killer who pretty much has been non-existent, he kind of disappeared. He reappears within this police rehab. So it's
Interesting.
really, really good movie. It's like keeps you on the edge of your seat. The funny thing is I watch every like 5 years or so and I forget who the bad guy is every time. So it's like I get to rewatch it all over again. There's certain movies that do that to me. Like even like Harry Potter, I'll forget a lot of the like what's gonna happen when I rewatch Harry Potter. My kids love Harry Potter and it's such a great series. Like
I love it too.
yeah.
Every time it's on, I have to watch it.
I know, and it's like it's a 3 hour commitment, you know. It's a
Or if you do all the movies.
or if you do all the movies, it's probably like a 20 hour commitment, right? But anyways, getting back to AI and
Yeah.
how it's going to impact your business. Uh, I mean, a big part of what you said is graphic design. Do you feel like it's going to help your business or hurt your business that anybody can just kind of go into Chat GPT and say, get me a new logo for this. This is what I want it to look like. Or even furthermore, they could use a service like a Canva where, I mean, anybody can use Canva. It's that easy, right? Not that they're going to create stuff as nice as what you make, but they'll respectable stuff. So they could create something somewhat in the realm of what they want, upload it to like a Chat GPT, and then Chat GPT will make it nice, right? Like,
Well, it's funny that because I actually had this experience a little more than a year ago, where one of our colleagues he actually used AI to create his business logo, and now he was just starting up his company. He just needed help, and rather, he didn't want to spend a bunch of money. So, but he had AI develop him a logo, and it got it about 65 to 70% the way there. And then he asked us to then take it and put what I call the human touch on it.
mm,
Because as good as AI is, and it'll get better, we know that, it's still never going to have that human interaction, what we know in here and in here. Let me repeat that in here, because AI doesn't have a heart. It may think it does, but it doesn't feel the way that we feel, the way we interpret things, the way we see things. And so humans see that. So that particular job, we actually we took the logo that he had, made tweaks to it, took it to the next level, and it was exactly what he wanted, and he loved it. That's because I knew him, I knew what he was looking for, and I knew what his business was trying to do. Can AI get there? I doubt it's ever going to be able to replace human thought, human heart, to be able to interpret those objectives. Will it get you 80% the way there? Yeah, it will. Will that be, to your point, good enough for most people? It could be.
yeah,
But
a lot of people aren't super picky on their logos. And actually, I see people all the time. This drives me crazy. I see people all the time that will use like the random logo creators
oh
that are
yeah,
online, and it's literally the same logo like redone with different colors and there's one
it's a
specific
hundred
that
logos for $100 type of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's one specific one that I just laugh every time I see it because it's like a house logo, right? And people use it for roofing and they use it for
Yeah.
contracting and our former mortgage affiliate had it for his logo. I'm just like, oh my God, just put a little bit extra work into your logo, right? Like try a little bit harder or hire somebody to do a little bit more. But yeah, I see that same logo over and over and over again. And it's like they have to see it too, right? Like they have to see that their logo is on like other people. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want my logo to be the same as somebody else's, right? Like I don't know. It just blows
Well,
my mind.
AI you have to you have to take in AI. You have to. It's not going to go away. In all honesty, I wish they would police it more.
They're
Um,
gonna have to at some point.
they're going to have to.
Yeah.
But if you don't incorporate it into your business, then you're only hurting yourself. AI can work in many different areas as long as you have the right people overlooking what it is that they're doing. So we use it in our own company. It helps us with content creation and other things to help us speed things along for our clients. What does that do for our clients? It actually makes then things cost less for them, so we don't have to spend as much time on things.
Mm.
I know law firms that will take 100-page document, have AI read it, and put it into a one-page synopsis for them. And what does that do? It saves a paralegal all that time to read it, so that way they don't have to. They can allocate their time to other things. So you have to embrace it, but you also have to put the human touch on it.
I'm gonna I've probably said this on my podcast before. You want to know what my favorite use of AI is?
What's that?
100% hands down. Like it's mind blowing how much I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have as business owners, you have those moments where you just have to put somebody on blast in an email.
Hmm.
And I am not good at that, right? I'm good at putting somebody on blast, but like you, I had a boss at T-Mobile back in the day. He said it perfectly. He's like, you need to tell somebody to fuck off and have them say thank you in return, right? You need
Oh,
to
yes,
develop that ability. That's what you used to always say. You need to develop that ability to tell somebody fuck off and have them say thank you, right?
of course.
And it's like it never really clicked to me until like, I got older and had to do this so many times in my life. And now what I do is I'll be crushing out that email and I'll have it all typed up and I'm like, wow, this is so bad, right? And
Yep.
I'll just copy and paste that and like make this more professional. And it's just perfect. Like I might tweak a little thing here or there, but that's so much better. Copy, paste, done. It is my professional I don't even know what the word would be, but it basically makes me more palatable via email.
Yeah.
And I only use it on like important emails, right? Like I'm not going to use it on like when you and I are chatting back and forth. But I'm going to do it when like I got to put somebody on blast and I want them to say thank you. I got it, you know.
See, you use that tool, whereas if I have to write an email that's aggressive or scathing in any way, I actually I'll write it. I have some very strict rules in my life and in my business, and so if I have to write one of those aggressively, I don't want to say mean, but just aggressive emails, I'll type it, and then I will actually let it sit for the next morning. I will not send it.
Hmm.
And then I'll also, and this again, credit to Dawn. I learned a long time ago, have her read it, have her take a look at it from her point of view to make sure that I'm not doing something that is completely off basis and she'll help me tweak it out. And it makes sense. And then the next morning, sometimes I don't even send it because may not be, it's also what I call a bargaining tactic. So if you don't get back to somebody right away, they're expecting you to. They might send another email back before you do because they've already recognized, oh, he's so upset, he's so pissed. I better get back to him before he gets back to me. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
techniques with
I mean,
that.
that's part of sales though, too. I mean, I talk about it all the time is like when you kind of make your first pitch, the first one to talk loses.
Oh
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And it's so awkward sometimes because like sometimes you'll be in that sales pitch with a salesman and they know that. And so you're just like, if you're in person, you're just staring at each other because you're waiting for them to respond. They're waiting for you to say something again. And it's just like a stalemate, you know? It's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, it's true. Like if somebody sends you a gnarly email and that they think's going to piss you off and then you wait longer, they might send one almost correcting their stance a little bit
Or
or
apologizing.
apologize. Hey, sorry, I was had a bad day, whatever. And it could make your response so much better. Oh, sorry, I was just super busy. Just didn't get to that. But no worries. Like we're water under the bridge type of deal. I am just not that patient. I'm just gonna say it right now.
You're not.
I am not that patient. And the other thing is, I already have trouble sleeping, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I for some reason, I lay down to fall asleep and my brain doesn't shut off. Like
Mm.
it turns on, right? I could fall asleep on the couch watching a show, no problem. Then I get to bed and my mind turns on and just starts racing with a bunch of thoughts because we got a lot going on. We're business owners, family men, the whole nine yards. You always got some crazy stuff going on. So I, I literally my big thing, I take an edible at night and puts me right to sleep. Turns my brain off, right? So that's one of my things that I do not all the time, but on when I have stuff going on, or if I have to wake up early in the morning, I do that to make sure I get enough sleep.
Ironically enough, it drives my wife crazy at the fact that I put my head down, I literally will fall asleep in a heartbeat.
Oh, so jealous. I'm so jealous of that. And the new thing is with me, which I'm kind of happy about it, but it's also like stressing me out a little bit because it just started happening.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because I'm getting old or what the deal is, but it's literally been the last like 2 to 3 weeks. I used to be able to, once I'm asleep, I can get up, use the bathroom, come back, fall back asleep, no problem, right? Like it's just that initial falling asleep thing.
Yeah.
Well, now, like the last 3 weeks, Like once I am awake, I'm fucking awake. I can't get back to sleep. I'm like, what is going on? And it's not like something, it's not even like my brain's racing, right? I'm all relaxed. I'm comfortable. I can stay in bed and just lay there and be relaxed and warm. But like for some reason,
You can't fall asleep after.
yeah, like the one day I woke up at like, 4:30 because, I needed to go to the bathroom, getting old, can't hold my pee pee till the morning anymore. Sucks getting old, doesn't it? Anyways, I
Or
need to.
just adjust how much you drink before you go to bed.
Yeah, that I'm bad. I drink fluids all day long.
I know
So
you do.
uh so anyways, I went to the bathroom and I'm like, okay, cool. I still got a couple more hours of sleep. And I literally just laid there looking to the ceiling and like why can't I fall back asleep? And it's been every single morning for the last 3 weeks now. So I'm like, uh, once I get I hope it stays because once I get used to it, I'm gonna be happy about it because I would love to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning easily and like drink my coffee and read the news and all that. But like I'm always like, if I'm gonna wake up and work out, I wake up the last minute I possibly can and get moving to get where I got to go on time. And same thing in the morning, if I got to get my kids on the bus, whatever. I hit that snooze button a couple times. I want to get out of bed the absolute last minute. So so you 30 minutes to me is like throw the hoodie on, throw the hat on, deodorant, brush teeth, shower if I need to. Usually I shower at night, but sometimes, gotta shower in the morning. Anyways,
So, no, I actually, so people are sometimes surprised at this, but I actually will go to bed at 11, 12 o'clock at night. My wife usually falls asleep on the couch. And
that's me.
um, but then I'm up at 5 a.m. And I'm usually when I sleep, I can fall asleep right away, but I'm usually up 5 to 6 times a night.
Mm.
Just the way my back is, I can't lay down anymore. So it's one of those scenarios where I'm up, but then I only get about 5 hours of sleep a night.
I think that's most entrepreneurs are in that like 4 to 6 hour range.
Mhm.
I just think we just got too much going on. We got even at night we're still working on some emails or doing some things, and it's we don't disconnect that well, and so that 4 to 6 hour range seems to be that entrepreneur part of us, I think. So because I'm the same way, I'm in that most days it's 4 to 6 hours of sleep and then done. I've
Mhm.
got to get moving, gotta do something. So
My dad told me years ago when I first started, he's like, when running a business, he ran the business by fear.
hmm,
And I never really understood what that meant, um, because I live my life business wise every 2 weeks. If I know that I'm making a profit every 2 weeks, then I know at the end of the year, then I will have a profitable year, and I can look at it. And this is where Dawn's paperwork and management of the company really does great because I know where we're at every 2 weeks. But it's the fear factor of, okay, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do to grow the business? What am I going to do to help somebody else? How it, I never understood that when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, I definitely understand more what he was trying to tell me.
hmm. Yeah, I didn't have any kind of a mentor like that growing up.
Well, and so I'm going to mention this because I wear this watch just about every day.
I say just about every time I've seen you, you've had that watch on.
And although I've got a couple other watches, this is the one that I wear 99% of the time. And here's why. My dad bought this for me for my 30th birthday. Um, with this on, I know that he is directing me and he's mentoring me at every point in time. I actually look at it multiple times a day and just remind myself that he's with me.
Hmm, very cool. All right, we should oh wait, one more question. There's two more questions. I try to always ask anybody I have on the pod, especially if they're a business owner. Okay, uh, if you could go back to 24-year-old Troy and do it
Mhm.
all over again, what would you do differently?
Hmm. It, well, business wise or personal?
Business.
Business.
Yeah,
Okay. Business wise, um, I've learned a lot over the years. But I used to be a cold calling sales guy. I loved to cold call.
me too.
Just
That's how I got started.
knock on 40, 50 businesses a day, make 100 phone calls a day. And it's a numbers game. You make 100 phone calls, you set up 10 meetings, you get one project out of those 10 meetings or vice versa, but it's all a numbers game. Um, but as I transitioned my career, probably, I don't know, 10 years ago, um, into networking. And I've gotten more business out of networking relationships in regards to just asking colleagues, hey, who do you know? Who can you refer me to? It's gotten me out of doing cold calls. I wish I had actually done that more, is done more networking earlier in my career.
I knew that pretty soon after I met you that we were going to be using you for for our services once our old guy, because we knew he was going to be retiring at some point. He was developing multiple other businesses, and it was just going to happen. So, and then when that day happened, you were my first phone call. Like, hey, I just got the news. My printer is going to be retiring. You want the business, and you were like all about it. So, and yeah, so that's exciting.
And you and I both met through
Networking,
networking.
yeah,
Yeah,
networking. So you would have networked earlier, is what you're saying.
exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
And also learned a few tactics that would have improved my networking skills.
Mm, yeah, being 30, 60-second presentation skills, huh? God, I don't miss that at all. Like there's aspects of being in a consistent networking group like a BNI that I love,
Mhm.
and then there are aspects of it that I hated. And one of the things I hated was just trying to come up with new material for that presentation every because it's every single week, you know?
That's
Uh,
never tough for me because we're always doing so many different things.
mm,
So I can
yeah.
talk about that every week.
For me, it was always tough because I feel like I do a lot of the same stuff, day in and day out, But I made it work. The other one that drove me crazy was just the political behind the scenes stuff that they,
Yeah.
growing the chapter and doing this and having the head person come in and talk trash to you because your numbers aren't good or whatever. Oh God, Wade with this stupid wallet thing. That would drive me so crazy. I heard that wallet pitch at least 1,000 times. I swear to God.
I we and I met through BNI,
Hmm.
but I do a lot of outside of that networking, and BNI has been good, but I've also recognized that it's not those meetings that matter. Those meetings, those events do nothing more than introduce me to people that I want to then, and I'm not just talking about BNI, I'm talking about
Yeah,
every type of networking event. It opens up the door for me to meet new people that then set the one-to-ones.
right.
And
That's
the
the important
one-to-ones
part.
is what I love. If I don't go to a networking event and don't set up at least one-to-one with somebody, I'm unhappy with that.
Yep, I agree. That's the most important part is getting to know that person outside of the meeting. And it's kind of weird though. There's a lot of like high school stuff going on in there too. Like you get little cliques in there and like, oh, I'm not gonna refer to that person because of this or what. It's like,
But I was just talking to a colleague about that yesterday because you and I both know we run across a lot of people that do the exact same thing.
right.
So, and you might like, let's say, I'm just going to take a financial advisor. We may have half a dozen financial advisors that we know and that we like as
Hmm.
people, and they may all be very good. But then if you're talking to somebody that, hey, may need a financial advisor, what do you do? Well, that you know those people, those half a dozen financial advisors, you know this person. Take it to the next level and figure out, okay, from a personality perspective, who's going to click the best?
Right.
And that's what I always do is, I like knowing people. I like knowing who they are and what they're all about. And then by doing that, I can give a better referral. So I may not have as many referrals to people.
But they're more qualified.
Yes.
Yep. Because
Yeah.
that referral is more fine tuned for that individual. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's unrealistic to say that like, oh, that attorney that's in my BNI group is the only attorney I'm ever going to refer business to, right? Like, like
I mean, heck, there's people outside of BNI that I met in BNI but aren't there anymore that I would always refer to because I just happen to trust them as people and what they do.
yeah, likewise. Okay, now we're gonna get into because I've taken up enough of your time. We're gonna get it real quick into your personal, and I know you know where I'm going with this. Troy, you have a very unique hobby.
Yeah,
W- We'll just call it collecting. Is that is
that's
that what you would designate yourself? You're a
that's
collector.
I'm a collector.
Okay, if you are a collector of rare Hollywood memorabilia and signatures, correct?
Celebrity signatures. Yep.
Okay. How many celebrity signatures do you have in your collection?
As long as my wife isn't listening to this conversation,
You probably will.
um, oh my God, probably in the neighborhood of about 2,500, if not close to 3,000
Okay. And how did this obsession start?
with movies. I've always loved movies. And it's only been recently, within the past 10 years, that I really got into it. But by my love of the movies and the fact that I basically can attribute anything in life to a movie, when I've kind of got into the hobby of collecting signatures, it brought me closer to the movie.
Mm.
And so then when I complete a collection and I get it framed, I can look at that and remind me, okay, that movie made me feel this way and just brings me closer to the movies.
I
And I
dig
try
it.
not to get to I try not to get into the political aspects of the celebrities and what they're all about because then it destroys my feeling for the movie.
I think that I'm very similar. I love movies, right? And a good movie or a good TV. I feel like a lot of the movies are now becoming TV shows because they can do hour-long episodes and make it a 10 episode series or whatever.
Netflix, yeah.
Netflix is kind of honed in on that. That's the thing now. But a good movie or a good series really it makes you feel like you're a part of it almost. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? And it's like that's what I love about it. You can escape reality and be a part of this movie for 2 hours or this series for 10 episodes or whatever the deal is. What's your most prized possession out of the hobby that you have?
Um, hmm.
And if you had to
Eh,
get rid of everything except for one, what would the one be?
Probably so you know me and my love for cars.
I do. We have a
Uh,
similar love for cars.
I know. And growing up in a car family, I've always been attracted to cars. I can't work on them as well as my dad. He knows everything about cars, but I would love to learn more. But I've always been, I love the series Fast and Furious.
Okay.
And so I have a mini poster from the first movie that's actually signed by all four of the main cast, including Paul Walker. And the reason why that's probably my prized possession is because I bought that piece from the guy who got it, got the signature, and um, I bought it a month before Paul Walker passed away. So,
Wow.
and just from what happened, that's one of those pieces that I'll probably never get rid of.
That's a really cool story. And honestly, that's one of the series I'm so torn on because I love the first three movies,
I agree with you.
and I feel like they lost me after that. It got too,
Too far-fetched.
yeah, too far-fetched, too crazy, too much action. Like the first one was probably one of the top 10 best movies of all time, in
Hmm.
my opinion. It was that good. Like it was a great storyline, it was good action, good everything, right? Like I could never get into the Mission Impossible movies because I just felt like it was too much action.
I'm the
Not
same
enough
way.
storyline, too much action, right?
Yeah.
I need a little storyline in there too. It's like, you gotta have a little story to keep you intrigued, right? That's interesting. Okay, so that would be your most prized possession. And how long do you think you're gonna keep this going for? Is it gonna be a lifelong passion for you now, or is there gonna be a moment when you're like, okay, I got 10,000 signatures, I'm good, you know?
Well, at some point in time, I'll probably say, you know what, now it's time to start selling the stuff. And um, I had just a wonderful friend who was an ex-cop who he was in the signature world for a long time before he recently passed it was about a year ago now, I guess. Um, but he actually he collected for so long, and it was like 40 years of his life, and he had some very rare pieces. He's like, okay, I don't need them anymore. Why don't I go? And he lived in New Jersey, went to New York one day, sold a few handful of stuff, ended up netting about 1.7 million.
Holy cow.
And that was basically what gave him the opportunity to go then do other stuff, give it to his kids, or just go have the trips that he wanted to. So it was kind of like his long-term, just fun money, if you want to call it that. And
Yeah.
um, so, because I'm like my dad with the antique cars and the classic and the toys and stuff like that that I help him collect. We're only cultivators of those pieces. We're going to hold on to them for a period of time in our lives, and then we get to give them to somebody else. And so that's the way I look at it is I'm just here holding on to it for however long I want until the next person can enjoy it.
Well, when the day comes, you start selling them and you're on Pawn Stars. I just want to be in the room when you're on Pawn Stars. Number one, I love Vegas. Number two, I watch Pawn Stars all that. It's one of those things I'll put it on just like background noise. And next thing you know, it's like 15 episodes in, and I'm like itching, like, oh my God, what's gonna happen next? Like it's one of those shows you just get lost in, because they're just seeing all kinds of crazy, cool memorabilia and stuff that you're never gonna see anywhere in life.
So that particular show, when they actually have anything signature related or even numismatist,
Hmm.
so coins, anything coins or movie related stuff, I am usually right on par with where the end price is going to be.
Oh, you already kind of know going up, it's gonna be worth this, or can you tell if it's a fake or anything like right? Or do you have that hunch too?
I do. Some people are that I in the hobby are so much better at it than I am. I'm decent at it, but I can every once in a while I can see something isn't right.
You have a lot of photos that back up your signatures too, because I mean I've seen so many photos of you staying with the celebrity that just signed your stuff or whatever. So you'll have a lot of proof that it's yours. So I always wondered that because my signature is never the same twice. So like, how do they, figure out if something's authentic or not? But it's pretty crazy.
It is, and it's very addictive.
Yeah. Well, Troy, I'm so glad we finally got this on the books, and
Me too.
you, you're just you're just one of my all-time favorite people. You're just so nice. I've never even seen you get upset or mad about anything, and you're just a true professional and a good friend. So thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it, and good luck with fatherhood, my friend.
I appreciate that, and thank you for having me. Our friendship goes well beyond anything, just business. It's so much more than that, and I appreciate you on so many levels.
Likewise. Thanks, Troy.
Thanks, buddy.